Welcome, everyone. We're diving deep today into something pretty incredible, really, UAPs.
You mean UFOs, right?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
UFOs. But the official term is Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, or UAPs. We're talking about that wild congressional hearing from a few months back where some high-ranking folks, former officials and experts, actually testified about UAPs being real.
Yeah, that was a fascinating one. Really got people talking.
No kidding. It really felt like things shifted after that. Like, this isn't just fringe stuff anymore. So we're going to unpack some of the biggest bombshells from that hearing.
What really stood out to me was just who these witnesses were.
Right. It wasn't just, some random people on the internet.
Exactly. We're talking a retired rear admiral,
Uh-huh.
someone who is in intelligence, even a journalist and a scientist. All these folks putting their necks out there to talk about this.
Makes you wonder what really pushed them to do that. Like, what's going on behind the scenes that made them come forward?
Well, and the stuff they talked about, it wasn't just vague theories either. They had specifics. Like Rear Admiral Tim Gallant, he talked about this crazy email he got during a big naval exercise back in 2015.
I remember that. Something about a safety issue, right? And a video.
Uh-huh. The video showed this object just zipping around, doing stuff our aircraft can't even dream of, totally defying what we thought was possible.
Yeah, the Go Fast video, right?
Yeah.
That footage was insane. But what I thought was weird was how Admiral Gallant said no one seemed too bothered about the safety risk these things posed. Like, these UAPs could be dangerous.
And then the whole email thing vanishing into thin air, like it never happened, deleted from everyone's accounts. Super shady.
It's like, what are they trying to hide?
Yeah.
And that wasn't the only hint of a cover-up. Remember those allegations about satellite images being kept from Congress? Makes you think, what else are they not telling us?
It's unsettling for sure, but then the real shocker, at least for me, was Luis Elizondo's testimony.
Elizondo, he was an intelligence
Right.
man.
Yeah, former intelligence official. And he swore right there under oath that the U.S. government has UAP technology. Recovered tech. Like they've got their hands on the real deal.
Wait, seriously? I remember that part, but it's almost too crazy to believe. Like, they've got alien gadgets just lying around.
He even said they're paying people who got hurt by this recovered tech, like compensation for UAP-related injuries. Can you believe that? What does that even mean?
If that's true, that changes everything. Like, there are secret programs out there studying this stuff, maybe even trying to build their own versions of it. Wild.
Definitely makes you wonder what else is going on that we have no clue about. I mean, if the government really does have pieces of UAPs just tucked away somewhere.
Right. It's nuts. And they're studying it,
Yeah.
trying to figure out.
That's got to be some next level science happening in those labs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lots of questions there. But there was also that whole thing about Immaculate Constellation.
Well, yeah, that name was straight out of a spy novel.
Total cloak and dagger vibes.
Remind me, who brought that up?
So there was this journalist, Michael Schellenberger. He had a report about it at the hearing. Apparently, Immaculate Constellation is like the super secret program for all things UAP.
So you're gathering intel.
Everything they can get their hands on. From satellites, military planes, civilian flights, even ships out at sea. They're trying to put the pieces together, figure out the big picture of UAPs.
What are these things? Where are they going? What are they doing?
Exactly. And the report, it listed all kinds of UAPs, not just your typical saucers.
Oh, right. There were a bunch of different shapes, weren't there?
Spheres, orbs, disks, triangles, even some they described as irregular organic shapes. Like, what even eye is that?
Seriously, the variety of these things, it's crazy. Almost as crazy as the tech they seem to have. So this program, it's been going on for who knows how long, completely under wraps. Makes you wonder what they've learned.
It's like, are they just watching these UAPs? Or is there more to it? Could they be? I don't know, talking to them, working with them even.
I mean, anything's possible at this point. But one thing that stuck with me, all those UAP sightings around nuclear sites, they talked about Oak Ridge, Langley Air Force Base, all kinds of sensitive places.
Yeah, like these UAPs have a thing for nukes. Makes you wonder what they're up to. Kind of scary if you think about it.
It is unsettling. Like, what are their intentions? Can they just waltz into these high security areas? What's stopping them from doing something, I don't know, more impactful?
Big questions, definitely. So we've got all this evidence, these officials saying UAPs are real, they're super advanced, and now they're hanging out by our nukes. But the big question remains, are we talking aliens here?
I was just thinking that. I mean, what else could it be?
Right. Based on what we heard at the hearing, it seems more and more likely that it is something beyond what we know, something not from Earth.
I gotta admit, the whole alien thing, it's both exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
Like science fiction is becoming reality. But if it is aliens, what does that mean for us?
That's the million-dollar question. We need to figure out their motives.
Hmm.
Are they friendly, hostile, just curious? We can't just sit around waiting for them to make the next move.
We need to be ready for whatever's coming.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to the whole government transparency thing. If they do know more about UAPs, about aliens maybe, they need to tell us. It's our right to know, especially if it affects our safety.
Absolutely. We can't make informed decisions about the future if we're being kept in the dark about something this important.
So what now? What's the next step? Didn't the witnesses have some ideas about moving forward?
Yeah, they talked about needing more transparency, more accountability. They want Congress to keep a closer eye on these UAP programs. And they want better protection for people who come forward with information, the whistleblowers.
Makes sense. But knowing how secretive the government's been about all this, I'm not getting my hopes up.
Yeah, it's tough to say. They're definitely resistant to letting go of this information, but more people are speaking out, more evidence is coming out. It's getting harder for them to just keep things buried.
Fingers crossed. We need the truth to come out, and the sooner the better. Because this isn't just about, like, curiosity about aliens. This is about figuring out where we fit in the universe, about facing what we don't know. It's about our future as a species.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All this talk about aliens and spaceships and cover-ups, it's also about the money.
Oh, yeah, the funding for all these secret programs. That's a whole other can of worms. Yeah, where's all this money coming from? And where's it going?
Right. We're talking about potentially groundbreaking technology, recovered materials, who knows what else. Someone's paying for it. And during the hearing, some people were pushing for more transparency about the budget for all this UAP stuff. It's taxpayer money, after all. We deserve to know where it's going, especially if it's being spent on something this big, this potentially world-changing.
Exactly. We're not talking about some small research grant here. If they're really trying to reverse engineer alien technology, that's got to be a massive undertaking, probably costing a fortune. Makes you wonder, what's the payoff going to be? Like, are we all going to benefit from this? Or is it just going to be a select few who profit?
That's the key question. And honestly, no one seems to have a clear answer yet. But think about the possibilities, right? If we crack the code of how UAPs fly, how they generate energy,
It's like unlimited clean energy, space travel for everyone.
it could revolutionize everything. We could be exploring the solar system, the galaxy even. It's mind-blowing.
It does sound pretty amazing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. What about, here on Earth? Could this tech help us with, like, everyday stuff? Energy, transportation, medicine, maybe even solve some of the big problems we're facing, like climate change?
It's definitely possible. Imagine harnessing the energy source that powers these UAPs. We could kiss fossil fuels goodbye. And the materials they're made of, who knows what we could create with that kind of tech.
It's both exciting and a little scary to think about all the possibilities. But there's got to be a downside too, right? Like, what if this tech gets into the wrong hands? Couldn't it be used for bad stuff?
Absolutely. It's a huge concern. Imagine weaponized UAP tech. Or even just using it to increase the gap between the rich and the poor. The power dynamics could get even more messed up.
Yeah, it's like opening Pandora's box. We could unleash something amazing, but also something really dangerous. It's a tough balancing act.
Definitely. We need safeguards, ethical guidelines, maybe even global agreements to make sure this tech is used for the good of everyone. We need to be talking about this, figuring out the risks and rewards, making sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we can't repeat the mistakes we've made with other powerful technologies. We have to learn from history and do this right. Prioritize peace and cooperation, make sure everyone benefits, not just a few powerful people.
It's bigger than just science and tech. It's about our values, what we believe in, what kind of future we want to build. Will we choose exploration and working together? Or keep repeating the same old patterns of conflict and division?
We're at a crossroads, not just the U.S., but all of humanity. We're on the verge of something incredible, something that could totally change how we see ourselves and our place in the universe. It's up to us to make sure we don't mess it up.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from those incredible testimonies to the mind-blowing potential of alien tech. We talked about the good and the bad and tried to wrap our heads around the big questions that come with the unknown.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is we're not alone. There's something out there, something we don't fully understand, and it's right here, interacting with our world. It's humbling, but also really exciting.
It's a wake-up call, a challenge to think bigger, embrace the unknown, and work together to build a future worthy of this discovery. Like they say, the truth is out there, and it's time we face it figure it out, and use it wisely.
Thanks for joining us on this wild ride. Keep looking up, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring the universe.